Welcome to your daily dose of hope. I'm Phyllis Nichols, and I'm glad you're here. Uncertainty is an inevitable part of life. So, whether you're making a career change, dealing with a family relationship, deciding on a major purchase, wondering how to deal with a health concern, it really doesn't matter. We just cannot eliminate uncertainty in our lives, but we can develop better ways to move through it. Here are 4 questions that I think help me, and I think will help you find clarity and a little confidence and a little hope when the path ahead feels unclear. The first thing, and I have to do this all the time, is ask myself, what do I actually know for certain? When we feel uncertain, our judgment can be clouded, and we often focus on everything we don't know or the parts that are the most intimidating or scary to us. So, asking, what do I actually know for certain, turns that around and it helps us identify the facts that we do know that we can rely on. What are my skills? What are my resources? What past experiences can I depend on? And what are truly my current circumstances? We may discover that we've got a lot more solid ground than we originally thought. Things may seem a little bit less intimidating or scary. And this is definitely going to be a much better foundation for decision making. Even when other variables remain unknown, we're going to be making decisions from a place of certainty about some things and reducing anxiety and fear. Another question to ask is, what is the worst outcome that I could handle? Now, look, fear of the unknown can often paralyze us more than the actual risks that are really involved. When we honestly examine potential downsides, sometimes it can be easy to really look at the most catastrophic possibilities, and it can be pretty easy to spin that out so that the realistic negative outcomes are maybe exaggerated. So if we can try and assess what the negative outcomes might be, we can then really truly understand if they're manageable and what we might need to do that. A lot of times, even if we find that things don't go as we hope, we have the resilience, we have resources to adapt or shift or make changes that we need to make. So, realizing and being really honest about what the worst outcome could be and what we might need to do is a good place to help, again, being back in the present moment and what's real and what we know for certain. Another good question is, what information would actually help me to make a good decision here? So, not all information is created equal. This question helps distinguish between useful research and endless, you know, rumination and all kinds of time spent on the internet looking at every possible option. Ask yourself, what specific knowledge would genuinely influence and aid you making a good decision? And then focus your energy on gathering only that information. If you have to, set a deadline for research to avoid getting paralyzed in ongoing analysis. A lot of times the cost of delayed action can outweigh the benefit of additional information. Plus, sometimes we're looking for additional information to bolster or to give us the courage to make a decision that maybe we already feel like we know we need to make. So, understanding what information is going to be most helpful, finding that information, giving yourself a limit, and then moving forward is going to help you process what's going to truly make a difference. And lastly, what would you advise somebody else in your situation? We're often clearer and it's much easier to see and help other people in this situation because we're not attached emotionally to what's happening. We're not entangled in the potential outcomes. So imagine a friend or a colleague and they come to you with the exact dilemma that you are struggling with. What would you tell them? This shift can really help you access your own wisdom. It can decrease anxiety and help with overthinking and clouded judgment. The advice you would give other people often reveals the good information that you already really know. Uncertainty isn't a problem to be solved. It's just a condition of life that we need to get through. And these questions can help you make peace with the unpredictable while still taking meaningful action. Remember, perfect information is rarely available, just like there aren't perfect answers to every situation. So, waiting for some sort of complete, magical answer or solution can often mean missing opportunities for growth and progress. The goal isn't to have all the answers. The goal is to get enough clarity to take the next step forward and the next step after that. This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM, Women's Voices Amplified.